this was the longest game. Let's make this the shortest press conference after a game. But certainly wasn't pretty. It wasn't perfect, but it was complete. 5 overtimes. The way our kids hung in there. That's a good football team that we faced up today. We knew that going in. Nothing more important than our kids coming out with a win and to give them some confidence. They've been through a lot over the last couple of weeks. And I certainly knew, and our coaches knew, that this was going to be a very, very challenging day, challenging night, and I thought we saw that today. But what I was proud of is the way our kids hung in there and fought to the bitter end. Our coaches did a great job keeping their poise and composure on the sidelines, and I think that really helped calm our team down. There was plenty of opportunities for us to win that game in regulation. We didn't do that, even in some of the overtimes, but we've got a lot of work to do, without a doubt. I'm not pleased in a couple of the areas. One, in terms of taking care of the ball. Two, in terms of making the right choices at critical times, in the game. But our defense came up big. I was happy to see Anthony Taylor step in and take advantage of his opportunity today. And now it's just a matter of taking a week to gain some time, looking at where we're at and get ready for UConn.
What was the deal with Bo, Justin? When was that decision made?
Bo went out for pregame and felt like he kind of turned his knee and felt like he wasn't 100%. So the trainers came to me and said that he wasn't going to be ready to play tonight. They felt it was best to keep him out.
Before the 42-yard field goal, did you say anything to Pat, or did you just give him room?
Pat's a great kicker. He cares deeply about this team, and certainly I was very pleased to see that he was able to make. And that was a big kick, the one he made, right? Is that the one you're referring to? Yep. We knew that we were going to rely upon our kicking game a little bit, and he did a great job. So it was nice just to see the way that he responded. And I know that some of these guys are totally excited about their performance tonight. I know he wishes he had a couple opportunities to put some of those in the uprights in regulation, but that was a big kick, and we needed him to step up and make that kick for us in overtime.
On the flip side, Jeff.
Sorry, go ahead.
On the flip side, did you have any feeling that your season was kind of hanging in the balance as they lined up for that 37-yarder to win it?
Listen, I look at every single situation, and I certainly felt that our backs were up against the wall. But guess what? It didn't. We played like we were the better team. We knew it was a couple plays here and there. And I was just doing everything I can to make sure that there was a lot of energy in that field to make sure that doggone kick didn't go through the uprights. But then I don't look past the moment. I try to stay within the moment and keep encouraging our kids to stay locked in. You can't worry about those things. You got to get after it and line up correctly and play with all you got. And hopefully the dear Lord's blessing you with an opportunity that the thing didn't go through, and that's exactly what happened.
Was the game plan? I mean, you guys came out 5 wide, empty backfield. Did that change when Bo couldn't play, or was that the idea going forward? Because it was, with the run being your identity, it was kind of a surprise why you didn't end up throwing 30 times in the first half.
Yeah, no, we wanted to. That's part of. We're multiple in our personnel groupings. So, Alex Wood, my offensive coordinator, my entire offensive staff felt good about that. It had nothing to do with Bo. We were going in it with 5 wides. We want to spread them out. We wanted to create, an understanding that we were going to get out there and throw the ball a little bit in the beginning of the game, kind of back them off a little bit, which opened up the run game, which it did. At certain times, but we want to continue to be multiple in that aspect. And if Alex feels and the staff feels they want to come out and no back, then I'm all for it.
Was it kind of surprising to you though to see that you couldn't really open the run game until the second half? That it was so pass heavy in the first, and it was still 3-0 game.
I'm sorry, say it again.
The fact that you were so pass heavy in the first half.
Right.
You talk about establishing the run later with that. Are you surprised it took you so long to be able to establish that? It took until the second half until you began to run the ball consistently on drives.
Yeah, and that's something that, we're going to look at very carefully, making sure that we have, our offensive line and our entire blocking structure has to be continuously evaluated. But, I don't have any problems going out there and being 5 wides, and then and trying to get ourselves established in the second half with the run game. At the end of the day, that was the aspect of our offense that scored the winning touchdown.
Coach, everything all right with Dylan Guy? I didn't really see him on the field much today.
Yeah, he's just tweaked his ankle. He's been hampered a little bit. He's been fighting hard to keep out there and being an active member of that unit up front on the offensive line. But no, it was hurting him a little bit. One of the sacks was he just couldn't push off it and react properly. So we had to bring in Bobby Blodgett. And that was something that gave him an opportunity. And I thought Bobby stepped up and helped us.
Your time at UB, do you ever remember playing in front of that many people at home?
No, it was the best crowd. I mean, I tell you, I couldn't be more proud of the way people came in today. It was great atmosphere, great environment, and that's what we got to continue. I think people got a glimpse of what we can do here. With the potential of people coming in and filling the stands and being out there. Was a lot of energy there. Our kids felt it, and that's what carried the night. And that was a big part of what helped us win this football game tonight, because those kids understood. There was a lot of people that came into that stadium to watch them play and compete for 4 quarters and then 5 overtimes, and they were able to deliver.
Talk about the play of Houston, seemed to be all over.
Yeah, he did a great job. Same thing with Adam Redden. Koye's done a great job. He's really stepped up his game. He was very active out there. Just like a lot of guys. I was real pleased with the way our defense really responded out there. We needed more offense, without a doubt, in regulation. Could have ended that thing a little bit earlier. But at the end of the day, they all came together and really stuck close and really fought for one another. But Houston's been great for us.
Talk about the decision to stay with Anthony Taylor even after James Potts had some good runs late in the first half.
We played them both, but we feel Anthony's just slightly a little bit ahead, but not by much. James is, he's still making progress. He's still somebody we lean very heavily on, and we're going to continue developing him. But we felt Anthony, and there was that fumble in overtime that really that one probably bothered me more than any one singular play. For us to put the ball on the ground in that situation, that's those guys understand, what we expect. But I was happy to be able to call his number and him to be able to run that winning touchdown in. And that's what you got to do as a coach. You got to stay behind these guys. It wasn't pretty and perfect, but you gotta just stay with them, and they'll fight. This group will fight, and that's what I was proud of tonight with this team.
Jeff, you guys did such a good job on the pass rush, especially in the second half. They didn't have a whole lot of time. And it seemed like on their final drive that the pressure wasn't there. And I'm not sure if you guys pulled back or they were just throwing quicker, because they were working. You got a handle on that?
Well, I think Lou just, he kept mixing it up a little bit. But, they do a good job. They put 9 guys in protection. And they had, just their 2-man routes, 1-man, 2-man routes, so it may not look like you got a lot of pressure or a lot of, pressure on the quarterback, but, I thought we got to him, a number of times tonight, which I think helped us because there was a couple key throws in that game because of how physical we were at getting to him. But it wasn't anything. Look, we're going to try to get pressure on quarterbacks regardless of where we're at in the ball game. But they were able to establish some good plays on that defensive side. I'm gonna be eager to see that film tomorrow.
Anything else?
Thank you.